Welcome to the QB Room, sponsored by Happy Dad. We have a little different episode this week. To be honest, we've been getting comments, some in the section, some via text. My mom, shout out Dana, is even like, last year it was just a lot of you and Kyle, and then you'd have the guest. And this year we're heavily focused on the guest, but we just wanted to hit pause for 1 week. We're 2 weeks into the NFL. We're 3 or 4 weeks into college football. And so we just wanted to pause. We do have a guest today, but we wanted to get into a little bit of what's going on in football right now, what's happening in college, what's happening in the pros, some of the storylines, and all of that. So we're going to have a little different setup, but we're excited to kind of dive into some of the football and get some of our commentary on it.
Yeah, we got a little special guest today, a little Jets correspondent, our boy Robby Bergers from Bob Does Sports. If you guys haven't seen, I think I get more, hey, you're the dude from the Bob Does Sports golf video, than, oh, you're the dude that plays on the Bills, than anything else. So he's going to come on. He's going to tell us woes about the Jets, and he's going to be great. So we're excited to have him on today too as our guest for the day. But let's just get into it from an offensive perspective and from a Joe perspective. I know he's injured during training camp. It's just seemed off. I wanted to get your perspective just overall. Do you think the calf and him not participating in training camp had that big of a deal of what's going on in week 1 and week 2 right now?
Well, I went on the herd last week and I talked about this on there, that I think that week 1 matchup where they were bad on offense, like he threw for 80 something yards, just a very uncharacteristic day.
Crazy number.
Joe in his career hasn't had high highs and low lows. He's just either played great or good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm trying to think of another game where statistics were really bad for him, and I can't think of one since his junior year in college. But I think that had more to do with Cleveland. And my take on that, what happened in Cleveland, is like they got 2 new pieces at O-line. Joe was out of training camp for a month, and then they're sorting through all the communication and all the things that need to happen in terrible weather on the road versus a divisional opponent. That's just not where you sort those things out, right? And it's not as simple to, like, fans. They go, well, don't you just go, like, silent count? Yeah, that's not just like a thing that you do. That's a thing that you got to practice. You got to rep out new pieces here and there. And then you got a couple individuals on that Cleveland defense that aren't blockable by one guy. And so I think that had more to do with Cleveland being really good up front than it did Cincinnati's woes. And then this last week, and I got some clips I want to pull. I thought it was, from an accuracy and all that stuff, one of Joe's better games. I mean, he had a costly pick.
Really? Yeah.
Other than that, it was like super clean, driving the ball to the sideline, some big time throws. I think he had 2 different touchdowns where they just didn't get a second foot in. And, when we're all little and the coach says this is a game of inches, you get to the NFL and you realize this is totally a game of inches. But I don't see this being a long-term, Cincinnati's in trouble situation. I think that there's a lot of good ball being played. There's turnovers being made on defense. Mixon got loose a little bit. And so back-to-back weeks, I think Cleveland's really good up front. Baltimore just ended up outscoring them since he ran out of time. And as you look down the road, and I think they got Monday night, they got the Commanders. I think they get kind of back on track.
You said you had some clips to pull up. You've been watching a lot of his film just from a mechanical standpoint. I know you work with him a lot off season and in season. Is there stuff in his game mechanically right now that's kind of holding him back? Is it something from the injury? Is the calf affecting his motion? I don't think people realize, especially from a lower extremity issue. I know you hear calf, like a calf strain. You're like, oh, I strained my calf walking up the stairs the other day. Like, yeah, it hurts, whatever. But the chain reaction that does from a quarterback for the rest of your body, is it his left or his right calf?
It's his right calf.
Yeah, so your push foot,
right calf.
Yeah, how much
you got your plant foot on the front side, you got your drive foot on the back, or drive leg on the back side. No, I mean, not going to dive into specifically what we talk about on a weekly basis, but I got some clips here of some absolute seeds from 2 days ago. You know what I mean? And so this one right here, this is 5 and a hitch. They don't do this a lot. And this is one of the better throws he's made in the NFL. This is Irv Smith Jr., I think is his name, but a tight end. This is 20, 30. This is like 42 yards in the air on a line, whole shot. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's quarters to the field down here. He's on the left hash. This ball's driven 42 yards in the air, hits the guy in the forehead, pinning him to the sideline on a whole shot. And so, like, when I see this area right here, like that doesn't look open from 38 yards away.
Yeah.
Unless you got a feel for it. And really it's putting T Higgins in the slot, holds that quarter safety in tight that allows the tight end who's number one to get down the sideline. Cause a lot of times, even in cover 2, that corner will just let him go. Like you're not going to throw it. Secondarily down the road, you put this on tape that we're going to throw it to him. So that changes the way that you play quarters to the field. That corner can't just slough off and wait for the sail route like he does here. So this is an unbelievable read, but unbelievable throw. You look at this from behind, there's no physical issues right here. This ball is absolutely driven to the perimeter. Another one that I had pulled up.
Is this before that he hurt his calf again in the game, or is it after? Do you know?
That was the first third down in the game, but this is from the fourth quarter. This is left hash, 3 no hitch, 15-yard speed cut out. I don't know. It's not a speed out and it's not a sail. It's like, you know what I mean?
It's a little in-betweener sail. Yeah.
It's that tweener, where you kind of delay your drop 1, 2, 3. And because it's such a long throw, you're letting this thing go as he's coming down into his break and ready to speed cut that. And so you got to throw that thing 7 feet off the ground, 28 yards away. T. Higgins catches this ball on his forehead. And then down and tight in the red zone, this is the end of the game. Got to have it. Slot fade, or like a fly to an out, like a wide depart fade, put your foot in the ground and snap out of it on an out route. Can't leave that inside. Can't throw that one low. Can't layer that one out there. This ball has to be driven. And that DB, when he makes this break right here, he can dive and get it. If you throw that thing low and away, like in high school, they tell kids like, throw it low and away. DB can get beat and then cross over and dive and make that play, but he can't switch his feet and get vertical and catch this ball that's 7 feet off the ground, driven to the sideline. And so, when I look at tape, and I watch a lot of guys, but with clients, I'm watching, everything, and like, this ball's just absolutely, third and goal, got to have it, and just ripped to the sideline on the dude's forehead. So from a tape perspective, no, I don't see like limping and balls dying or anything like that. That's why I go, look, there's a protocol to continue to work on an injury. Then there's the people that help with understand with what might be causing the injury. How can we not develop a compensation? And I worked with you on that, right? You busted your ankle in Washington a few years ago. And so you go to physical therapy to rehabilitate the injury, but people like me come in and go, well, how do we make sure that you don't create a compensation due to the injury?
So hard not to.
Where you end up pulling a hamstring on the other side because you're compensating on the bad side. And so I'm not worried about Cincy big picture. And you get down the road, and if Joe does miss a game or two, I'm really bullish on Jake Browning's ability to come in. I think he's one of the better twos. Not a name that a lot of people know, but played a lot of ball, played high school at a high level, played college at a high level. And this, if he gets a chance this year, would be his first chance. So that's the right guy, right type of guy to come in and play in that offense with those weapons. So I don't have big picture concerns for Cincinnati.
Well, we got our special guest on. I told you guys we're going to have a special guest to start the show today. It's a very special guest today. I think I was telling Jordan this. I think more people, probably 10 times the amount of people, come up to me and say, oh, you were in the Bob Does Sports golf video. And then they're like, oh, you play on the Buffalo Bills. It's unbelievable. But Bobby Fairways, thank you for joining the program.
By the way, that's nothing against the Buffalo Bills at all.
It's not.
Just,
it's Bob Does Sports to the
happy
moon.
to be here.
That's what it is.
Amen,
That's what
baby.
It is.
Amen, baby.
How's the wallet looking going into the NFL season 2 weeks in? How are the bets going? Are we doing all right on the betting side?
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding my own, to be honest. I usually go in kind of expecting to lose because it's always designed to where you're probably going to end up losing. But in the long, so far so good. I'm all unders. I'm a big under guy, so I've been sticking true to that. And yeah, I love watching the clock.
Oh God!
Is that
I
crazy,
hate that.
Jordan?
You love that run play. A guy gets tackled in bounds, and you just kind of throw another piece of popcorn in your mouth. You just start looking at your own clock. Yeah.
If the game starts off and it's a run for like 2 yards, 3 yards, I feel like I'm so ahead of the game, and I enjoy watching the clock tick.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm a sicko.
Yeah. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. I hate that out of you. It's beta energy.
It's funny.
Man.
I got a buddy that bets unders too, and he's like, the greatest play to watch when you're taking unders is dropped interceptions, especially like a pick six that they drop, because that's an incomplete pass. But man, that could have been 6 that unaccounted for that the offense didn't score. That goes against why I picked the under in the first place. So those drop picks. You got to love those drop
It's
picks.
a beautiful, or even nothing like a nice pin them deep, like inside the 5.
It's a great punt.
I love it.
Yeah, great punt
Let's
followed
rank
by
your
a
top
QB
25
sneak.
favorite punters.
Yeah.
That'd be an exciting segment.
We're gonna be here a while.
Your favorite kicking groups. Yeah.
It's real sicko stuff out of me.
All right, Bobby, you're a big Jets fan. It's been a struggle for you for a lot of years. You had some hope going into this year. I think you're a little sad right now. I haven't talked to you in a little bit, but it's been a tough year. We're going to play a game with you that we play with all of our quarterbacks. Played with Baker last week. It's called Take the Sack, right? You're never going to take a sack in your life. You might die if you took a sack from some of the guys we take sacks from. So we're just going to play Would You Rather.
Yeah, I like the odds in that.
Yeah, and it's going to be Jets focused for you, okay? So we're going to start it off with this. It said, would you rather have it be you tear your Achilles than Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles?
For Rodgers, I'd tear it.
You tear it?
Ooh.
Would you tear
for Rodgers? I mean, go ahead.
Would you tear both of them?
Jeez.
That's a wheelchair.
No, that is a wheel. Yeah, no, I don't think I could do both. But do people know that I'm tearing it for him?
Yeah, no, you're in the news. You're tearing it for him. Yeah.
Oh, I would do them both.
Would you rather go on a date with Paige Spiranac or be healthy this season with Aaron Rodgers?
You're such an asshole.
It's an honest question, man.
You're such an asshole.
Why is he an asshole for the rest of the question? Elaborate.
No. You're right. It's a legit fair question. That's what you get in the QB room. I'd say date with Paige Spiranac.
Oh, wow. Over Aaron being healthy. Wow. Must be a great date. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on from that one.
I do like the Jets, but not that much.
Okay. Would you rather win $10,000 on Zach Wilson hitting the over of 167.5 passing yards next Sunday, or have Aaron be healthy this season?
Oh, Aaron be healthy. If I'm willing to take out the Achilles,
That's true.
I could do the 10. I could do the 10K, no doubt about it.
All right, last one. I think you're gonna like this one a little better. Would you rather have a Haagen-Dazs lifetime deal or have Aaron be healthy this season?
That's good.
And that's like a third car garage set up, and there's a person down there when you walk in saying, which flavor would you like, right? And explaining that. This is a different Haagen-Dazs deal.
Jordan, I'm not lying when you put it like that. I think, honest to God, I would take the Haagen-Dazs, because you got to think Haagen-Dazs is going to pay good money too.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm taking the Haagen-Dazs deal.
What was your quote on Haagen-Dazs the
man.
other day? You said they throw 98 consistently down the middle.
They're far and away. I don't think another ice cream compares to them. I don't think it's even close.
All right, we're gonna do one more game with you, Bobby. We're gonna do it's the starter, backup, and practice squad game. It's our version of the Mount Rushmore tier talk game right here, okay? And I think, people would probably say Bob does sports, living a pretty good life right now. I've seen you out in Jupiter. You were just over there in Ireland too. You're touching all the places right now. You're really on the come up. But so what a good lifestyle looks like right now. So we're gonna play starter, backup, and practice squad of quarterbacks that you would switch your life with, and we're going to do it draft style. Jordan, will let you go first, and you got to pick. It's the whole life, right? It's the on field, it's the off field, it's the house, it's the wife, it's the kids, it's the lifestyle. Like, you got to pick your
everything entailed,
everything, the whole life, who you would switch it up with. You got to pick your starter, your backup, and your practice squad guy. Jordan, you can go ahead and go first.
Yeah. So this is not ranking who you think's the best. Switching lives. I'm married with 3 kids, very, very happily married my high school sweetheart. I got a good setup. So I'm not interested in switching lives here, but if I did, it'd be with somebody who has a different lifestyle. So Mahomes is out. He's got 2 kids. Some of these guys who have kids, I change it up. I also would want to be younger and have all the freedom and all that stuff. So I'm not going Aaron. Aaron's my age. He's a couple months older than me. I'm switching with Josh. I'm switching it up. The guy plays, does exactly what he wants to do in that moment. The setup, he got Buffalo National at his house. More famous than I would want to be, for sure. I'm not interested in fame. I'm not interested in fame. But that setup, the bankroll, the golf, physical ability. I think it'd be fun too to play football that way. I never played it that way. Attacking as a runner, trucking dudes, hurdling. I think that'd be fun. So with the number 1 overall pick, I'm swapping with Joshy.
So good.
All right, Bobby, give us yours. Number 1
Now,
pick, starter.
Now comes to me, number 1 pick.
Yeah, we'll let you go second. There's a lot of guys on the board left.
Look, I don't want to just pump the guy's tires. Am I allowed to back that up with Josh?
You're
No,
not.
He's off the board.
You gotta hop off.
Okay, I'm ready for you. I kind of wanted what Jordan wanted there too. Again, Jordan's happily married and whatnot, but I want a guy who's young and I believe single. Give me Justin Herbert at 1.
See, because you don't get the giant famous guy thing. He's not some international superstar that gets mobbed everywhere you go. Nobody gives a shit out here. He lives in Orange County. People don't care about sports out here.
That's right. You
That's
get the LA weather. Yeah, I'm taking Justin Herbert all day. I feel really good about that.
That's a good pick, man. I like that pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch it up a little bit
because I would have gone Josh too.
Yeah, that's why I didn't let you go first, because I know what you would have done there. I know you. I know you very well. Yeah, you're big Josh's number 1.
Did you think I was going to go Josh, Kyle?
Yeah, I knew you both were going to go Josh. That's why I let you go first.
It's clear as day.
I'm going to go a little different here. All right, there's not really many rules here, so I'm going to go prime Tony Romo. I'm going to go Tony Romo in Dallas. Golf god too. He's switching over to golf as we are, right? He's got the setup in Dallas. You know, I don't think it gets much better than that unless you win some more playoff games and maybe some Super Bowls. Yeah, but Tony Romo prime Dallas is great.
It's a good guy to be.
Yeah. All right, who's your backup, Jordan?
All right. So my backup, this might catch you off guard here, but I'm going Bryce Young, right? And here's why. So Bryce Young is from sunny Southern California, Orange County. He's a legend out here, right? I've known this guy since he was like, well, he was the same height back then, but like he was a little guy. But then you got the Bama, like the magnitude of being the band. That's forever, man. That's like, do you want to be on college game day when you're 44 years old and make $12 million a year? Like, and you got the deep tie. You're a legend forever at a place that will pay you forever. There's a lot of legends there, but you're one of the handful of people that have like won a Heisman and done all that stuff. And then I've been there a couple of times, but I'm going off of all the stuff I've heard Kyle say for years and Sam Darnold say for years of just how dope Charlotte is. So you don't have that like huge market pressure like you get in like Chicago and New York and all these places. Like they don't care like that. But Charlotte's a dope spot. You can make a lot of money off the field. And I love Bryce Young. He just keeps his circle tight, family. He's super professional. He's super mature for his age, but he's already done enough legendary things. And I love the way he plays the game, creates time, creates space, and he's going to create a lot of wealth for himself too over the next decade. So yeah, that might change up a little bit, but I'm going B Young.
Yeah, I got no issue with that. It's hard to deny that. It's good. I'm gonna go the swagger route, and I'm gonna go just sign the new deal. Give me Joe Burrow. Look, nothing against Cincinnati. I could do without Cincinnati, but to have that swagger, to have the talent that he does, the contract that he just signed, what he wears is unbelievable, and he wears it so well. Part of the swagger, I would go give me Joey B at 2.
That's a good number.
I like that.
Yeah. Do you think you can pull off some of those looks?
Can't go wrong.
How far do you think you can go on the looks there? You look like you can rock the glasses at least.
Maybe the glasses, but then once I go down to like the jackets and all, I can barely wear this polo. You know what I mean?
Polo looks good. The breezy polos looks good, man. It's good, man.
Appreciate that.
Come on now, have a day.
Appreciate that.
You guys are all going with the young guys right now, man.
You
guys are going young. I'm gonna keep it old, Jordan. I'm surprised you're not going this route. The GOAT backup in general. I'm going Chase Daniel. You're making $80 million plus over his career. We were talking about this earlier. Backup's probably, people say backup's the best position in sports. He really made it that way because he started, 5 games in his entire career. He's got a nice house in San Diego. He's chilling. He's going to TV now. He's living the life. He's playing on a bunch of teams, played 12, 13 years in the league. His body probably feels great. Didn't take many hits. He's scout team forever. Just the boy. I'm going Chase Daniel as my 2 here.
I don't like that one. I lived the life of a backup quarterback, not like that. But
Chase Daniel backup quarterback.
I want to play. I want to switch. I want to play. I want to dominate.
It's good, but it's the backup.
You can have
though.
that one.
Yeah,
I like the Romo in his prime. But I don't like the Chase Daniel. I like Chase Daniel.
He is an all-time backup.
He's an all-time backup, man. He's an all-time backup.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah.
He's my backup goat.
All right, my third pick, and just because I think there's some Michael Jordan to this guy, and then in the city that he's in, and the swag, like you talk about that swag. This is a different type of swag, and just like I think he could, within reason, do anything, and it's gonna look dope. And that's Jalen Hurts. Got the contract, ton of success early. He's got the grit of overcoming all this. He got benched in Alabama. Then he had to go sit in Oklahoma. And then he got his chance. He goes second round. Everybody thought he wasn't an NFL quarterback, couldn't play, blah, blah, blah. Can't spin it, can't throw it well enough. And then he just kind of like does. But like everything that guy does is just like clean cut, polished, swag. He's like, we see guys who have cool Jordan cleats with a Jordan deal. You're telling them what the combinations so the Jordan thing. I mean, I had a quarterback who was in Philly who's like, bro, every day he's got a different pair of Jordan cleats. And every day I go, those are the dopest cleats I've ever seen. And I'm not saying this because of cleats, but just like everything Jalen touches just feels like a champion and a winner and dope, and that it's going to work out. So, and he's not out there much. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of mystique. He's a pretty mysterious guy. You haven't heard a whole lot about anything about him, but check the resume. Usually when he plays well, and usually they win. So, yeah, I like Jalen.
Quiet swagger there too, yes. Jordan. I think he flies under the radar.
Handsome as shit. Oh, yeah. Be fun to play like that too.
Keep going on him, Jordan.
Yeah,
Jeez, man. I'm a big Chandler.
He's all over.
I wanted him to join in the room one day. That's why.
Yeah. All right, who you got, Bobby?
Who you got?
I feel good about this one. I toyed with Mahomes just to have that talent.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go with Mahomes. But what I am going to roll with, he's got the looks, he's got the swagger. The only thing that he's missing is an offensive line, which he's going to need bad, and I would be fearful of that. Give me Kenny Pickett, man.
Ooh, Kenny Pickett guy, huh?
Yeah.
He's from there.
Flow that he's got
great flow.
Yeah, it all works out. I'm a big Kenny Pickett guy, and I think he'll have his day where he gets a big contract. But again, from what I saw with him last night, I just hope they get him some protection because there's really not too much he could do. Rocket of an arm. I got Kenny Pickett.
That's a good call. We like Kenny Pickett a lot. We're big Kenny Pickett fans over here. The Browns defense, we've talked about it a lot on here. The Browns defense is unbelievable.
Kenny's a roomie
way
as well.
Better.
Well, several of the guys you mentioned have been roomies, but yeah.
Yep. All right,
Kyle, who you got? Third pick.
My last one. I'm going a lot different route than you guys, but I'm pretty confident about this one. I went.
So far, you are, yeah.
But I went between two guys here, and they're kind of on the other end of the spectrum from each other. But it was either going to be Tim Tebow in his prime, but I think I'm going to go Johnny Manziel in his prime. I think.
Wow, that's
practice squad.
Wow, we didn't see it coming.
A&M, Johnny Manziel. Probably the best college football player, probably the best, craziest college football life ever. And I know, we've seen the documentary and all this stuff come out, and it's been a struggle. But prime Manziel, I don't know if there's much beating that. Bobby, you play golf with him. I think you know.
He played football the same way the Russian played cards in rounders. I will splash the pot whenever the fuck I please. That's like how he played and how he lived his lifestyle. Like, hey, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
I will do that whenever I please.
Yeah, there's nothing in my body right now that would let me do that. Like, there's so much anxiety in me that would never let me do something like that. So just to maybe even 1 year of my life, just live like that. It's kind of my practice squad guy right there.
I mean, talk about giving no shits. I mean, we see it a lot in our friends and people. You just don't see it a lot in the quarterbacks where they just literally don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. There's an all-time legend to do it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You're right. You did go.
It's a good lineup. I think I won that one there. Personally. Yeah. I think I took it up there. That's different. Good. Yeah.
We're gonna send you your bronze medal for that, Kyle.
Thanks.
For those 3 picks. But
all right, Bobby, you are. I think a lot of people know this. I had to tell Jordan this, but we actually went on a golf. Me and Jordan went on a golf trip one time with humble brag with Brett Favre, me, Josh, Jordan, and then the founder of Cameo. Which you are you the number one guy on Cameo?
So they do it day by day. They have a leaderboard. And lately there's been some people coming for the throne, but I would say most days out of the week I've been one. But again, there's a lot of people coming in to where I don't know how long I'll hold it.
Yeah, I remember. I
looked
called
at Martin Blencow was the guy.
Martin Blencow. Yeah, Martin was who we went there with. But I called Bobby earlier today to have him on, Jordan, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm in the car right now, banging out cameos before lunch with Joey T. This guy is an assassin on Cameo." So the last thing we got for you before we let you go is I want you to give us a cameo, not for us, but I want you to give a cameo as if Tom Brady was asking you to give him a cameo for his birthday.
Ooh.
I would say, look, Tom, I appreciate you having me here today. I never thought that I'd be here today the same way that I'm in the QB room. I never thought I'd be in the QB room, but you know what, Tom? Here we are, right here, right now, and I'm happy to be here, and I wish you nothing but the best in life after football, and something tells me you're already enjoying yourself. From me to you, always looking after you, with you every step of the way, your boy, Bobby Fairways.
Just quick like that. It's perfect.
Yeah, just to the point. Tommy wants to the point.
There's no way you can bang out 50 of them if you're going too in-depth over there. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Usually like 30 to 45 seconds.
How often
roll them out?
How often do you do a cameo and you record it and you're like, nah, I can't send that one. I can't do that. Like how often do you catch yourself slightly outside the lines?
Not, to be honest with you, Jordan, not often. There's times where they'll ask me to say something that I'll be like, I can't say that. There was one cameo that I had, and I swear to God, where a guy asked me to divorce his wife and said that it would soften. He said word for word, it would soften the blow if it came from you. Ooh. And a large part of me was thinking he's got to be joking. Like there's no way that it could be true. And he paid for the 24-hour one, so it's like time and a half. So I was like, man, like I guess like I'm just gonna do it. And I ended up sending it, and like I regretted it so much because I was like, look, odds are I like my odds that it was a joke, but like there's there's also that side where it's like it really was a real thing. So I did it, and I guess.
Did you ever find out?
Everybody's got a price. Never found out because like once you send it, it's gone. So I'll never know.
Oh man, I wish you would have ended. And
just like send a text on the side. Hey, let me know how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I just felt bad about it's like, what are you doing?
The story is riveting with no ending.
Yeah, I know.
How do you even go about that? What did you say? That's so terrible.
I it's been a great run. I mean, there's been a lot of good times. Like I really got into it.
Did you say it's not you, it's him? Instead of not you, it's me.
It's just not working.
It's not
out.
you.
You know
it's
what? I was like,
him.
Yeah. I'd be like, look, I'm glad that I was the one to relay the message, because we both know we don't want John doing that. You know what I mean? And I just went for it. But again, man, I guess everybody's got.
When you're banging out 40 to 50 a day, you're bound to get a divorce request. I guess statistically speaking, that is. Yeah.
So tough, man. I felt so shitty.
You can't be the king of cameo.
You just got your $17.99 and called it a day. You got a Haagen-Dazs.
Much more expensive.
Just brutal. Just brutal.
Oh, that's awesome, Bobby. I think we got to have you back on when we have a guest on here too. We need you to be a guest practice squad quarterback in here some weeks. We need to get you back on. But I appreciate
P-squad.
you.
I like it.
Yeah, he's our P Squad guy. He's in for the week. He's in to give us the Lamar Jackson look this week. He's a fast guy, got a lot of charisma. But thanks for coming on last minute. Appreciate you, dude. Rematch in the offseason.
Yeah, I'll be there
at your place.
Jordan, you guys caught me. I was out of town, and next time I'll be there.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, Bobby.
I appreciate you boys having me.
All right, let's switch over to another team in the AFC. Your team, Kyle Allen, Buffalo Bills. We all watched the Monday night game. I don't know if everybody watched the week 2.
Probably not as many.
Josh struggled. Things happened in the first game. Second game looked like it was super clean, efficient, put up good numbers, and got a solid win. But I want to go back to the Monday night game and something that is not related to the Bills. We all saw Aaron Rodgers tear his Achilles and be out for the season. But I couldn't help but think about, and I've had this conversation in the last 2 weeks with young guys or whatever, but I think that put every QB2 on notice. All of a sudden in one play, nobody ever wants the other guy to get hurt, but everything in one play, it's not even like you're in. it's one thing when a guy gets dinged up and they like, he
Mm-hmm.
goes out, but he could totally be back next week, It's another thing when it's like, that guy's not playing this year. And all of a sudden you put yourself in Zach Wilson's shoes and you're like, in this moment, I'm now the starting quarterback and there's nobody else here. There's nowhere to go.
Think about it with Zach too, bro. Think about it with Zach in this
the roller
offseason.
coaster of the last 18 months.
Well, yeah, think about it. Yeah, all the stuff from last year, right? You can even just put that in the past, right? And then this year, they sign Aaron, and he's excited. He's got a new mindset. He's got a new outlook. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. I'm going to get a lot better over these next 2 or 3 years. I'm going to become the guy in my 5th year, right? Going into that. He's just sitting here. He's taking a deep breath, right? He's like, I can enjoy football again. I wasn't ready to go in yet. Like, I need some time.
I want to see Aaron run my system in games too. Like, I'm going to get so much better watching this. Yeah.
Right? And then not only did Aaron get hurt, pops his Achilles 4 plays into the game. Monday Night Football, September 11th, first game of the year. When you say put yourself in his shoes, I'm standing on the 30-yard line where Aaron pops his Achilles.
You're the person in the shoes. Yeah,
I'm literally, I'm the guy like looking at Zach run on the field like, fuck, I've been there before, but I have not been there in this type of light before. And we're sitting there. I'm sitting there with my one of our trainers, right? And so each team has the tent on their side, their medical tent. And I'm sitting there with our trainer, and he's staring intently at the tent. He's like, he's going to come out. He's going to come out. It's an ankle. It's just an ankle. He's coming back in the game. It's a high ankle. And then he just doesn't come out, right? Like, as a backup quarterback, you're in the game. You're like, okay, like 4 or 5 plays. Like, let's execute the offense. Let's get us in position. Wait till Aaron comes back out there. And you're just sitting there, and he's still in the tent. Everyone on TV probably has a better idea of what's going on with Aaron Rodgers than Zach Wilson did at that moment, right? And you're just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And to go from I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow under probably, arguably, some people think he's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, to then go, oh, I got to go run your offense now. The offense that you had all the reps with the ones in the offseason, that you had your OC come from Green Bay to New York to install, that you've been running for the last 12 years of your career. Now I got to go do that. And I didn't even get to see how you did it. I couldn't tell you how, like, I felt like chills, like bad chills go through my body for Zach Wilson in that game.
Yeah. I've been a 2. And I think like I understand when fans or people say, they say, oh, when I was playing, like, oh, you're a backup quarterback. Oh, it's the best job in America. Or you used to play, what were you as a backup? Oh man, it's the best job in America. Like I get the statement, right? I don't take offense to somebody saying backup quarterback's the best, but there's some reasons why it's not the best too. Like, it is so stressful on game day. You haven't gotten any of these reps. You've only seen it from the other, like, you haven't repped any of these things out. Even if you had gotten reps, I don't know how helpful it is. You're now going in expected to play at, at a similar level to the starter, unless you have really different traits. Nobody's going to expect you to make the runs that Josh makes, but they are going to expect you to make the reads, the progression, and the throws that he makes, right? So, like, to just all the emotions of how big that was, and it was September 11th. It's in New York City, and it's like week 1, and it's Monday Night Football, and it's the Bill. It's all the things, and then I'm like trying to like settle in on like I'm the quarterback for this whole year now. And
the whole year,
I think,
right?
I think every QB2 on every level was like, whoa, oh yeah, I like
this is possible.
Forget that
like this is real.
Could totally play every single snap. Yeah. So
well, it happened to me in Washington too. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 19 plays into the season in Washington, he got signed for $12 million in the offseason. 19 plays, busts his hip open. Taylor Heineke has to play 17 games that season. And you're just not ready. You're not ready for it. How can you be ready for it?
Yeah. Fitzy got his start. He was in Cincinnati, and he was the 2, and I was the 3. It was my first year in the league. And my brother hurt his elbow and missed, I think, he missed like 12 games. And Fitzy was just like some 7th-round pick who got drafted by Seattle and then traded for nothing. And he's the 2, and I didn't know who he was. I'm like, you went to Harvard? That's crazy. You're in the league. And then, I'm watching him in practice. I'm like, this guy can play. And then all of a sudden, poof, he's the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. The next year, signs for $15 million in Buffalo. I was in Chicago. Jay Cutler tears his groin off the bone. Here comes Josh McCown. Everybody thought he was too old to be a 2. He goes in, and I think he went 6-2, threw like 22 touchdowns in 1 pick, lit it up, signs in Tampa for $15 million fully guaranteed. And so like these it's an incredible opportunity that you don't want to have the opportunity, but when it's there, you can totally take it and run. But at the same time, I just think my biggest takeaway outside of bummer for the Jets and bummer for football in general and bummer for Aaron is I put every QB2 on notice. And in that moment, I doubt there's any QB2s who weren't watching and didn't see that and haven't thought about it since. Last year, it was an NFL record. 69 different quarterbacks started a game in the NFL. It's like up 11% from the second highest year. And so it's, and I just did a piece of content on this talking about like the importance in developing the two, and like no one wants to talk about it and it's taboo and hopefully the guy never plays, but like, well, statistically speaking, they play a lot. So you better have that guy, whether you draft him, develop him, trade for him, whatever, like you better have that thing dialed. Because the reality is with Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people believe this is a Super Bowl contending roster or an AFC East, championship type caliber roster. However you want to look at it, it's a damn good team, good defense, good weapons on offense, great coordinator, great decision maker. I haven't heard a bad thing about Robert Saleh, period. So the season shouldn't be over. You know what I mean? And so that's on Joe D and the guys up in the front office to make sure that we don't want to talk about if this happens, but if this happens, we better not we're not throwing in the towel. And so I think we're going to see Zach Wilson get better every single week. I hope that, but I also believe that that's going to happen. I think this idea that there is no safety net, there's nobody behind me. Typically competitors, it moves you forward. I heard The Rock talk about this one time. When your back's against the wall, there's nothing behind, there's nowhere to go except forward. And so my hope for Zach and his career and for the Jets too, because I want him, I want him to have a good year. I like a lot of the guys there.
It's not too good.
We don't need there's nowhere to go. Year. Good, not great. There's nowhere to go here, man. So you're moving forward, and QB2s around the world, you are on notice. So that was what happened on the Monday night game versus the Bills. But 2 weeks into the season, Kyle, give me and I love this because we spend the majority of our time, we kind of save our topics for here. So I genuinely want to know what's the state of the union, where you guys are at. Who do you guys got this week, and what are you kind of excited about? And obviously, you're not going to talk about the issues or anything that are happening in every building, but what are you excited about, and what do you guys have coming up?
I think the overarching theme, and this is around the NFL too. This isn't just in the Bills building, and we've kind of been talking about this already, but it's don't panic, right? Week 1. We go in and we play a great Jets team on Monday Night Football. We lose 13-16. We play sloppy football, or 16-20, whatever it was. We play sloppy football. We don't execute. We have a lot of unforced errors on our part, and we lose, right? And since it's on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, since everyone's watching, since it's against a Zach Wilson team that Aaron Rodgers got hurt and we lost, the walls are falling down. Everyone's worried. Josh can't play. He's washed, right? We see all of it, right? No matter how hard you try not to see it, everyone sees it, right? It's going on at all times.
Unavoidable.
He can't play anymore. And then we come back this week, and what do? He goes 84% completion percentage against a team that held the Broncos to 16 points last week, right? We score 38 points. Your boy, number 9, gets in there at the end of the game for a couple handoffs and knees. He goes 3 touchdowns. He leads the league in completion percentage. As a team, as a defense, I think we've allowed 26 total points. I think just the overarching theme in the NFL in general, right, is any team can beat any team on any given day if you don't show up. And I think you've noticed this more probably than I have been in the league, but you don't win as many games as you lose yourself, right? I think that was kind of I didn't describe that well, but you lose more games in the NFL than you win. Personally,
then you win yourself. Yeah,
exactly. I think the more I play in the league and the more I watch teams, I think you fuck it up more yourself than you go out and actually make big plays and win the game. And I think that's something that the best teams do is they don't lose games, right? They don't have a bunch of turnovers. They don't have a bunch of penalties. They don't play bad situational football. When those situations are on the line and it matters the most, they play great football. And I think that's what this team does really well, to be honest with you. I don't think we showed that week 1, but week 2, I think that's what we do really well.
Yeah, I talk a lot about comparing basketball and football, in that when you are a 5-star recruit in high school, quarterback, and you become a 5-star, you get the 3rd star and then the 4th star and the 5th star, you get your first offer and then you get your 35th offer based off your ability to make plays, not from taking the check down, not from managing the game in high school. You do it from making plays, right? Juking dudes, dropping dimes, ripping off big runs. That is what is celebrated. right? Then you go to college, and so you're a playmaker. You go to college and you need to be a playmaker. You need to be able to make plays, but you also start to learn how to actually just put the ball in play, how to just distribute it. And then when you get to the NFL, the foundation of your game has to be a distributor, put the ball in play. And then if you have the ability, physically, talent-wise, if you have the ability to also make plays when they're there, then you're one of these super rich guys that's really famous and on the cover of things. But there's been a lot of very successful quarterbacks that have played a long time at a high level that didn't make a bunch of physical plays. Like the greatest quarterback ever, Tom Brady. Like he didn't juke dudes, whip one across his body 60 yards. He doesn't, like, his highlight tape is more about clutch timing accuracy than it is playmaking. And so when you're a guy like Josh, who has the ability, you can argue, to make more plays than anybody, then it's that delicate balance between, and people call it hero ball or whatever, but is this situation require me to make a play or just put the ball in play? And so carrying that over to Steph Curry, who's the best in the game right now in basketball, in my opinion, there's games when he's going to go for 46 and he's going to have 8 fadeaway jumpers from the corner with 3 dudes in his face. And then there's games when he just has like 19 assists and he hit every open jump shot. He screened well. He created movement. He created opportunities for other guys. And he kind of only had like 18 points, but he had a bunch of assists and a handful of steals and rebounds. Like, now they play whatever, 162 games or whatever it is, but like, it's that delicate balance. And I talk to a lot of young college starters. I talk to a lot of young NFL starters about that delicate balance. And so when you have the pressure and the magnitude, and I think that's all that Monday night game was, the whole world's watching. It's Aaron. It's as big as it gets non-postseason, right? Like that's like as big of a regular season game that I can remember. And I think it was a much bigger deal than the Thursday night game to start the season between Detroit and Kansas City.
I agree.
And it was so hyped. And so it's so easy when you are a playmaker and that's in you to feel like I need to make plays. And what I saw on Sunday, I watched every snap and then I broke down Josh's tape. I just thought he distributed the ball and put the ball in play a ton. Made a couple of plays, awesome ones. But it's that delicate balance of make a play or put the ball in play. And the best guys are better at the latter and when they get there. And so when you talk about Aaron, some people think he's the best ever. I think he's one of the best ever at that because he can put the ball in play with the best of them. And then every now and then he does some crazy shit. But if you look at statistically Aaron's career the whole year, he's just never had, I don't have it in front of me, but I don't think he's ever had a year where he's thrown a bunch of picks.
No,
like
and he puts the ball
a bunch of years where he's thrown like 2 that were his bad and 4 that were tipped, and like every year he's got like 6 picks.
Yeah, and I think for people watching at home who are watching Sundays and they're seeing this trend of the league where guys aren't throwing for as many yards, I think you can see it. Like, I think week 1, there was only a couple guys that threw for over 300 yards, and one of them was Tua, who threw for like 470, something crazy like that. But this trend of guys throwing for less yards, guys completing the ball at a much higher rate. I think Josh was like something crazy, like 33 of 41 for 280, like something low, right? Like a lot of completions for only 270, 280 yards, and one of them came on a 40-yard scramble play on the last drive. The way defenses are playing nowadays, the first 3 teams we're going to face this year are soft quarters teams, too high. I know you hear it on when you watch the Kansas City Chiefs games over the last couple of years. They're playing with 2 high safeties. They want to see if Pat can do it. They want to see if he can check it down and move the ball down the field. That's kind of the way the game's going in general over the entire league. You see it started in Denver with that 2 high kind of defense, and in LA with that 2 high defense when Jalen Ramsey was there, where you're kind of just showing 2 high shell regardless. And the whole philosophy is these D coordinators are trying to make these best quarterbacks where Pat and Josh and Lamar and these guys who can just make these crazy plays like you're talking about, can they be disciplined enough to take those 5-yard checkdowns all day and move the ball down the field? A lot of these guys don't think they can do that. And that happens sometimes where you just get sick of checking the ball down to your running back. You get sick of it checking the ball down to your chip flat on your tight end. But what I saw this Sunday from us, and I thought it was probably one of the most impressive, and I don't want to call it perfect, but just from an execution standpoint of just playing within the play and doing what the play asks you to do, it was dissecting, right?
Yeah.
You can look at the.
I think what we've seen too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said you could look at the film and you can see how many play action checkdowns he took off of one hitch, how many chip flats he hits, how many they run out in deep cover 2 and he hits the running back underneath. And yeah, they might go for 3 or 4 yards, but sometimes they're going to go for 11 and they keep you on schedule. I think that's the way the league is moving, and it's guys that can do that. And then when, like you said, when the play is called for, when you need to make a play, you make that play.
It was funny that you bring that up. So I had talked to a defensive coordinator in the league who plays a 2-high shell at one of the pro days this last March, and we were talking about this trend of more 2-high. And he said, well, so many of the best quarterbacks in the NFL are mobile. Regardless of their 40 time, they can extend the play, right? And so when you have single high, you have another guy down low. And so when the quarterback breaks contain, that defender typically has to turn his back to the quarterback and find somebody, right? So I was talking about like, it can be zone coverage, but when the quarterback breaks the pocket and rolls to his right, it becomes man coverage because they're teaching guys on defense, go attach to somebody. And so if you have another low hole defender that's at 6 yards or 8 yards or whatever, and the quarterback breaks contain and they can't make a tackle, they're got to turn their back to the quarterback and go find somebody, as opposed to in a 2-high shell. That's one more defender whose eyes are looking at the quarterback and at what's happening in front of them, and their ability to cut those or attach to somebody is better. And so a lot of times, particularly on third down, it's better to have 4 guys facing the quarterback, the corners and the safeties, than it is to have 1 safety and 2 corners. The corners and a single high are all typically either in man or they're in zone way the hell out of there. They're not making a play anyways. So you just limit the amount of people that are turning their back and finding somebody to attach to, and increase the likelihood that you're going to force the quarterback into a bad decision when they roll, which for most guys is when the bad decisions come, is when the off schedule and when I didn't see that dude sitting there on the sideline. I didn't see that guy undercutting it, which is where a lot of those tips and overthrows and those turnovers come from.
That's interesting that you say that about scrambling, though. I haven't heard a defensive coordinator talking about the scrambling wise. That's really interesting from like a safety and corner and eyes on the quarterback perspective. I never even thought about that. And it makes sense. Like, think about, I remember, we shared the same quarterback coach in Zampese, and especially in the red zone, right? He used to have this funny quote, and it kind of pissed me off, but it was whatever. He would say that, 60% of the plays in the red zone are, they're off schedule. You got to make a play. We can't draw it up for you every time. You got to go out there and make a play. That's how 60% of the touchdowns are. And it pissed me off, but he's right. You look at our game on Sunday, I think our 3 red zone touchdowns that we threw were off schedule on the move plays. And it's just, that's how you draw it up. And so you're seeing a lot of these teams, like the first 2 weeks, the teams we played, you go back and watch the tape. They have 2 high safeties in the red zone. They're not playing man down there. They're playing 2 high safeties, and all their underneath defenders are just standing on the goal line. They're daring you to check it down and do an Oklahoma drill with the running back on the linebacker, right? They're just daring you to do it, and no one wants to do it.
Used to call that birds on a wire.
Yeah, and it's just
birds on a wire. It's just a bunch of birds standing there on a wire. Everyone's on the goal line.
And what ends up happening is, especially with the non-mobile quarterbacks, is you sit back there and you're hitching. You're like, no, God, this looks like shit. Who's open? And then the pocket collapses on you, and that's when you get the sack. And what a lot of teams are starting to do now is like, all right, it's 2nd and 8 on the 8-yard line. You're going to sit birds on a wire. I'm going to throw it to my running back and see if he can run over your corner, right? But they're just begging you to do that.
So case in point, not having an NFL guest this week, a little deeper dive on football. Hopefully you're into that. But to bring it back to stuff that we normally do, let's play a little game, Kyle.
Okay, what we got?
Let's do throw it deep or check it down. So reminder, throw it deep is I'm going to throw out a situation, and you're either going to throw it deep where, yes, I like that, or you're going to check it down like, no, I don't like that, and explain why. So I'll start it off with you. I'll give you a statement here. You throw it deep or check it down.
Okay.
Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football right now. You throwing that deep or checking that down?
This is a tough one. This is tough because the easy answer is Caleb Williams, right? The easy answer is Caleb right now. He's got however many touchdowns, he's making crazy plays. USC looks awesome. Haven't really played anybody. And then you go and watch Colorado, which the whole world is. I don't know if you saw on ESPN, Colorado had the most streamed game on ESPN Plus ever on Saturday night. It was like 11 million
the Fox
people.
Picked up the first 2 games, and the ratings are like bananas.
Yeah, unbelievable, right? And then you look at his stats post-game. Like, he had a comeback win in week 2. TCU put up a ton of points against them week 1, and then a huge comeback win without his best player in week 3, right? And his stats are crazy after every game. It's like 37 of 46 for 398 yards and 4 touchdowns. I'm going to throw it deep. I'm going to say at this point in time, Shedeur Sanders is playing the best football out of any quarterback in the country, from situational, from carrying his team, from completion percentage, from not turning the ball over, and just from the hype around it, right? Like, yeah, Caleb had a ton of hype coming in with his Heisman, but Colorado has the self-imposed hype that they brought, right? They brought their baggage, and it's Louis. We coming, and then every week he shows up. And I've been impressed, man. It's been fun to watch. So I'm throwing it deep on that one. What about you?
I'm checking it down just because there's a guy named Caleb Williams playing college football. I don't care who they got going on. And I'm every week I'm becoming a bigger and bigger Shedeur Sanders fan. I honestly hadn't really ever seen him play. I watched him on tape a little bit with a scout that I was with this offseason, but I didn't know about the level at Jackson State. I'm seeing it here. He's playing at a super high level, but there's an element that Caleb has that Shedeur doesn't have, and that's that Caleb might be the best runner on the field as well. And Shedeur is more of a pocket player from what I can see. Like, he's a mobile guy, but he's not a dynamic attack you as a runner. Caleb is. Caleb can score on any play. And then I think Shedeur can continue to play at this level. I know Caleb can. So I'm not mad at your deep shot there.
That's fine. You're playing safe. I get it. Yeah.
But I am going to check it down. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Colorado, USC, 2 weeks.
All right, next one. Throw it deep or check it down, Kyle. I had to have you look this up to see what it was, but I love it because I know this guy. But throw it deep or check it down. Takeo Spikes is a crybaby.
I'm actually, I'm gonna even if he was a crybaby, I'd check this down because neck is the scariest thing on planet Earth.
Oh, he's a scary look. He's the nicest guy on the planet. Scariest looking dude too.
I saw him pregame as I'm warming up. I'm like, who the fuck is that over there?
Dude, he could play right now for sure.
He's got a natural neck roll back there. It's unbelievable. But I'm checking it down. We're gonna throw the picture up here for Takeo Spikes. But he came and he did our whole pregame, the Bills, the whole crowd was screaming. He got him going. He did the coin flip, and then I go to look at my phone after the game. I'm looking on Twitter, and it's Takeo Spikes, and he's like, "Thanks, Bills. Legends community. Thanks for having me out. Wish I could have stayed for the whole game, but here's my seats." And he took a picture. You can see in the picture right here. You literally can't even see 50 yards of the field. I don't even know why those suites exist right there. But I probably would have dipped too. It's you have him there to do the coin toss. It's more on Josh for not putting him in his suite. So I'm going to blame that on Josh more than anything. You could have let him up in your suite, but
yeah, one less cousin and then just add in him. Yeah.
There's a lot of cousins there. It's okay. But I'm checking it down. Takeo Spikes is not a crybaby, nor has he ever been one.
I'm checking it down because I have a feeling he watches this show from time to time. He's my boy from way back, and yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about Takeo Spikes. That guy's the man. But yeah, that's hilarious that happened. I'm sure it didn't mean to, but why does a suite exist when I've seen stuff on social the worst seats in sports? You know what I mean? And they put section 44 row R seats 2 through 8, and it's you're behind the stands or whatever. I saw someone from the Coliseum. Worst seats in sports kind of thing, but. I think that's hilarious that happened, and that it happened to a really scary looking, super nice, good dude.
Yeah. So we're both checking it down. You're not a crybaby, Takeo, if you're listening to this. All right, next one. I don't know if you caught Sunday night's game with Miami, but Miami looks hot right now. They played great the first 2 weeks, had a great win in week 1. Mike McDaniel is the smartest OC in football right now. Are you throwing it deep or checking it down?
I'm throwing it deep with an asterisk because he has the personnel to make whatever you want to do work, right? There's so much speed in that huddle, but at the same time, it's not his fault. His dudes are good. I mean, it is because they brought him there, but he's still dialing it up. And I'm sure there's other people who watch every snap of every game, but I'm watching every snap of damn near every game. I see more people open in Miami right now than I do other places. And yes, Tyreek Hill is a superstar. But you don't get open because you're fast. Speed is an element of creating separation. A lot of time, it's the rub, it's the angle, it's the way that is taught. It's the timing at which he puts his foot in the ground, ball is out. I just see the ball hitting receivers' hands in Miami and then closest defender, on average. And I'd be curious what the actual stats are. They next gen.
Yeah, separation stats on the receivers.
Separation. Yeah. I would be surprised if anybody's within 50% of the separation that Miami's creating right now. And again, personnel, you can create separation by being a good receiver, but most of the time, give me your thoughts. Most of the time, separation is created based off of alignment, personnel groupings, what coverage you're going to see,
Right.
and then how it's taught, and then the timing at which the ball comes out of the guy's hand. The other thing is if Tua's double clutching everything and waiting for a guy to get open, then you're not going to have that separation. So I think Tua plays a role in this too, because he is getting the ball out of his hand on time and accurate. But it is what it is. Those are the guys in the huddle. Right now, I'm throwing that deep. Mike McDaniels has dudes streaking down the field without people next to him.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough for me. Because I do believe I'm gonna check it down just for my guy Dorse. I gotta throw some love to my guy Ken Dorsey here. I think Dorsey dialed it up on Sunday. He might get a top OC of the week as of last week. He dialed it up better than most I've seen in the league. But I will say this for Mike McDaniel, right? And this kind of goes off of what you were saying. And I watch a lot of Dolphin State because I think, especially starting last year when he got there, their offense looks different than anybody else's offense, right? They are more innovative. They're doing different things. They're doing things that you don't see. And especially, there was some video on Twitter that I saw the other day about Tyreek Hill's pre-snap motions from last week. He had 17 different pre-snap motions where it's send him, snap the ball, right? He's looking at the quarterback. He's running across the formation. He's bolting out. He's getting essentially Canadian League football starts on these corners to where he's moving at full speed when the ball snapping. He's hitting edges and he's going. And like you said with Tua, he's getting the ball out on time so well, and he's always been an anticipatory quarterback, and he's so in tune with what they do. And if you watch their games, they're a team that runs the same play maybe 6 or 7 times a game, right? Mm-hmm. They're not afraid to call the same play. Maybe it's out of a different formation. Maybe it's out of a different look, but it's the same play, right? They do this little, run him on a motion, run this guy up the seam. He's on a wheel. Then there's a flat route, right? And he's just kind of going bink, 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 like quick. And he's making those decisions in that time because he's had 1,000 reps at that out of 15 different formations and 20 different motions. But teams just don't know what to do with it. I think Mike McDaniel, coming from that San Francisco tree, right? He's one of the best in the league at using motions to his advantage to getting his guys opens. And I like what you said about it takes everyone to do that, right? It takes the receivers, it takes the quarterback, it takes the play calling, and from a separation standpoint, all these teams are playing zone nowadays. There's not the Patriots that are just playing man every play. No one's really doing that anymore. It's all soft zone. So separation is really based off of scheme now, right? It's not based off of I'm better than you, only on third down, really. So I agree. I mean, he's dialing it up, and it's fun to watch. Unfortunately, we have to play him twice a year, but we're up for the challenge.
Well, that's it for today. Change it up a little bit. Change up the format. A little bit of last season, a little bit of this season. Awesome guest. Thanks for lining that up, Kyle. Let us know what you thought in the comments section. More of this, less of that, all that good stuff. But we'll wrap up here. Get back to another little element of last season. Kyle, what are you grateful for right now, man?
Man, I'm just grateful for ball being back. You know how long it is in the off season. Well, the off season is really the season for you, but for me, just preseason, OTAs, all this crap is just like, it's so much different than actual ball. So it's good to be back in schedule. Good to be back, good for a dub last weekend, get back into a groove, playing games every week. We don't have a bye week till week 13. So we're going to be in it and grinding, but I'm pumped about it. I love it. I love this time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. So I'm excited about just grinding it out, man. What about you?
It's awesome. I'm grateful for the last 5 years. My little guy, Reese, shout out to Reese, 5th birthday today.
Hey.
When that happens, you start going through like this time last year, this day 4 years ago, and you start going backwards, looking at the birthdays, looking at the parties, looking at, how much they change every single year. They change so much every single year. So I'm grateful for my little man, Reese, who turns 5 today.
Big dog, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Take a second. If you're watching this, just pause for a sec. Think about what you're grateful for. Big gratitude guys over here. And thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with an awesome guest. This is the QB Room, sponsored by Happy Dad, and we'll see you guys next week.